You already know what it feels like. Someone says something to you, and suddenly the whole room shifts. The air gets heavy. Your chest tightens. And even though the words seem simple on the surface, something underneath them cut right through you. You walk away replaying the conversation over and over, wondering what you should have said, wondering why it went wrong, wondering why no matter how hard you try, you still end up feeling misunderstood by the people who matter most to you. That feeling right there, that is not a small thing. That is your entire life being shaped by your ability or inability to communicate. And here is what nobody talks about. Most people think communication problems are about not having the right words. But the truth is so much deeper than that. The real problem is not vocabulary. It is not even confidence. It is something invisible that runs underneath every single conversation you have ever had. And once you see it, once you actually understand what is happening, everything changes. Stay with me through this entire video because what you are about to learn has the potential to completely transform how the people closest to you see you, respond to you, and treat you starting from your very next conversation. Now, before we go any further, if you already feel like something in your relationships has been off for a long time, if you feel like you keep having the same arguments, the same disconnections, the same moments where you try to explain yourself and somehow it makes things worse, we do have a program linked down below in the video description that goes much deeper into everything we are covering today. Do not wait to check it out. The people who wait always wish they had acted sooner. But right now, let us get into this. Think about the last time you felt truly heard by someone. Not just listened to, actually heard. Where the other person got it, where they looked at you and you could feel that they understood not just your words but what was underneath your words. How rare was that moment? How much did that one moment mean to you? Now think about how often you are giving that to the people around you. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because most of us are walking through life thinking we are communicating when what we are actually doing is reacting. Someone says something and before they even finish their sentence, we are already forming our response in our head. We are already defending, explaining, justifying. We are not listening. We are waiting for our turn to talk. And the person on the other side of that conversation feels it. They feel the wall go up. They feel the distance. They stop sharing the real things. They start keeping things surface level. And slowly, quietly, the connection erodes. The relationship hollows out. And you wake up one day sitting next to someone you love and feeling completely alone. That is the cost of poor communication. And it is devastating. Research in relationship psychology consistently shows that the single greatest predictor of whether a relationship survives is not how much love exists between people. It is how safely they can communicate with each other. Couples, friendships, work relationships, parent and child relationships, all of them live or die on this one skill. And here is something even more striking. Studies have shown that people who communicate effectively earn significantly more money, advance faster in their careers, have lower rates of depression and anxiety, and report dramatically higher levels of life satisfaction. This is not just about feeling good in conversations. This is about the entire trajectory of your life. So let us talk about what actually makes communication powerful, and we are going to go deeper here than most people ever do. The first thing you need to understand is the difference between reactive listening and intentional listening. Reactive listening is what almost everyone does. It is listening through the filter of your own feelings, your own history, your own need to be right or to defend yourself. Intentional listening is completely different. It is the decision to temporarily set your own narrative aside and genuinely enter the world of the other person. When you do this, something almost miraculous happens. The other person can feel it immediately. Their shoulders drop, their voice softens. They open up in ways they have not opened up in years. Because intentional listening is so rare that when someone experiences it, it feels like the emotional equivalent of coming home. And you can start doing this right now. The next time someone is talking to you, try this. Instead of thinking about what you want to say next, focus entirely on what emotion is driving their words, not the content, the emotion underneath the content. Are they scared? Are they feeling dismissed? Are they overwhelmed? Are they desperate for validation? When you identify that, and then you reflect it back to them before you respond to anything else, you will see their entire energy shift within seconds. Now let us talk about something that destroys more relationships than almost anything else. The language of blame versus the language of ownership. Most people, when they are hurt or frustrated, default to language that places responsibility outside of themselves. You never listen to me. You always do this. You make me feel invisible. And even when those statements feel completely true in the moment they land on the other person, defenses go up, walls go up. And now you are fighting about who is right instead of actually solving anything. But when you shift to language that owns your experience, something completely different happens. When you say, I feel invisible in these moments and I genuinely want us to figure this out together, you are no longer attacking. You are inviting. And most people, when they feel invited rather than attacked, will walk through that door with you. This one shift alone has salvaged relationships that people had already given up on. Think about what it would mean in your own life, that friendship that has been quietly falling apart, that conversation with someone you love that you have been avoiding for months because you do not know how to have it without it blowing up. What if you had the tools to walk into that conversation with total confidence, knowing exactly how to say what needs to be said in a way that actually lands? People who master this skill stop dreading hard conversations. They start seeing them as opportunities. That is a completely different way of moving through the world. Now let us talk about nonverbal communication, because this is where most people have almost zero awareness, and it is costing them enormously. The words you say make up a tiny fraction of what the other person actually receives. The rest is tone, pacing, posture, eye contact, and the energy underneath all of those things. You can say all the right words and still communicate something completely different if your body and your tone are out of alignment with your message. Have you ever had someone say, "I am fine," and known instantly they were not fine? That is nonverbal communication. The word said one thing, everything else said another. And we are doing this constantly without realizing it. We say we want to connect while our arms are crossed and our eyes are on our phones. We say we care while our voice is flat and distracted. And the people we love register all of it even if they cannot articulate it. Developing awareness of your own nonverbal signals is not complicated, but it requires intentional practice. The first step is simply slowing down. The fastest way to get your body aligned with your message is to be fully present. And full presence in a world designed to pull your attention in 1,000 directions at once is an act of radical love. When you give someone your full presence, and I mean truly full presence, phone down, eyes soft, body open, mind quiet, you are communicating something that no amount of perfect words can replace. You are communicating that right now, in this moment, you matter more to me than anything else. That message lands at a depth that reshapes relationships. Let us talk about conflict, because this is where everything we have discussed either gets used or gets abandoned. Most people handle conflict in one of two broken ways. They either explode and say things they regret, or they go completely silent and bury things that never actually go away. Both of these patterns create damage that accumulates over time. The explosions create fear, the silence creates resentment, and eventually both of them create the same outcome, which is disconnection. The people who handle conflict well do something that looks deceptively simple, but requires real skill. They stay regulated. They feel the heat of the moment, but they do not get consumed by it. They pause before they respond. They choose their moment. They choose their words. And they stay focused on the relationship, rather than on winning the argument. Here is a truth that most people do not want to hear. In a fight with someone you love, if you win, you lose. Because the relationship is always the thing you are fighting for. The moment you prioritize being right over being connected, you have already lost something that matters far more than the argument. The people who build truly extraordinary relationships have made a decision. They have decided that the relationship is worth more than their ego. That decision changes everything. Now think about where you are right now. You have been absorbing all of this, and something inside you knows these are not just interesting ideas. These are things that, if you actually apply them consistently, would change the quality of your life in ways that are almost hard to fully imagine right now. The question is not whether these things work. The research is overwhelming and the results people experience speak for themselves. The question is whether you are willing to move past just consuming information and actually commit to transformation. Because information alone does not change anything. You have probably known some of this already. Knowing is not the problem. Doing it consistently, applying it under pressure when emotions are high and old patterns are screaming at you to react, that is where almost everyone struggles. That is where the gap lives between the relationships you have right now and the relationships you actually want. We have a program linked down below in the video description that bridges that gap. It is built specifically for people who are serious about this, who are ready to stop settling for surface-level connections, and start experiencing relationships where they feel genuinely seen, understood, and valued. The people inside this program are experiencing results in their relationships that they did not believe were possible for them. Do not be the person who watches this, feels something real, and then goes right back to the same patterns. That version of your future is not the one you deserve. The program is down below. The next step is yours to take right now.